All right, so now you've had a brief intro to the Common App, we're going to take a slight detour and then come back to it. So we've met the Common App and we know where we're going to be filling in our application to university. But there's a part of the application that you will not do in school in the UK. Unless you go to a private school or a really good state school, you will not have been spoken to about this before. But we're talking about the SAT. The SAT is a standardized test that everyone in America takes. It assesses your ability to read, write, and do maths. And now, as an English person, I'd love to say it's really easy and inconsequential and you don't need to prepare for it. Well, that's not true. A lot of the questions are very easy. However, to get a good score, competitive in these schools that we're aiming to apply for, you can afford barely any wrong. I'm now going to explain just a little bit about how it's scored and what a good score actually is for these schools. The exam's scored on a scale from 400 to 1,600. Both English and maths are scored between 200 and 800. If you get all the questions right in a section, you get 800. If you get them all wrong, you get 200. 1 in 10,000 test takers achieve a 1600. The test's scoring is curved, but you probably don't know what that means, so allow me to explain. If you're in and around the middle of the scores, let's imagine you're getting 35 out of 58 on maths, you'll get around a 600 on the maths. Now let's imagine you've improved by 5 marks and you get 40 out of 58. You'd move from a 600 to about a 630. That's an increase of 30 points, which doesn't seem a lot, and it isn't. But at the top end, if you're getting 58 out of 58, you'll get an 800 guaranteed. But if we lost the same 5 marks, so you get 53 out of 58, your score will drop 100 points-ish, down to around 700. That's annoying, yeah, but it's just how it is. Every test has got a slightly different curve depending on how difficult the exam is. Full marks is always 800 in a section, but in some tests you can get 2 questions wrong in the maths and still get an 800. But in others, if you get 1 wrong, it'll drop you down to a 770. It's the same idea that in A-level maths, 50% in A one year and the next year 60% in A. And the question that's probably begging your mind right now is, what's a good score for these unis, Harvard, Stanford and the likes? You need to get above 1,500. There's no questions asked, especially as an international student. This course isn't a guide to revising for the SAT. I can't teach you maths and I can't teach you English. Although I've done the SAT and I've got a good score, 1,540, I can't sit here and teach you how to do it. I'm just not familiar enough with the content as I am with the other things like A-level chemistry. I can teach you that, no problem. But don't fear, because there is another free resource based in America called the Khan Academy. It's got an incredible website and it'll teach you everything you need to know to get perfect scores in both sections if you apply the work. Khan Academy was the only resource I used when preparing to get a 1,540. So now you know what the SAT is, you know that you need to take it, and you know how to prepare for it using Khan Academy. How do you register? Now, the SAT is run by an organisation called the College Board, and there is a number of testing centres, and they're pretty much always inside private schools that run the exam in the UK. It's always sat on a Saturday, and it's sat start of December, the start of October, the end of August, and the end of March every year. All you can take into the room is a pencil and a rubber, as well as a suitable calculator. You can go to the College Board's website, which I've linked below, sign up for an account, and just follow the steps to register as an international student. There is something I need to add, that the SAT is quite expensive to take. It costs £90. I'd love to say you don't need to take it, but for MIT, it's a requirement. Due to COVID at the minute, it isn't a requirement for a lot of schools, but in a few years, if you're watching this, maybe it's 2025, for example, it will be a requirement that you've taken the SAT. Or the ACT, but I'd recommend the SAT. Content's more in line with GCSE and A-level maths and English. So that's the SAT, that's how it's scored, that's where you can take it, how you register. If you've got a 1500, like I said, it gets to the point where they're not looking at the SAT. It's not a sticking point anymore. They're just going to move on and look at the rest of your application. That's what I've been told anyway. Obviously, I can't say that as a fact because I've never sat in an admissions office. That's enough SAT. So it's annoying. You've got to do it. We're now going to move on to filling in the common application.